Subscribe. Vegan, a way of life for some. For ethical, medical, or environmental grounds, a vegan diet or veganism typically abstains from using animal products. According to UK studies, the number of people who follow a vegan diet has climbed by 350% in the past 10 years. Veganism, formerly thought to be a specialist diet, has now become mainstream. By definition, veganism is a way of life in which individuals try to avoid all instances of animal abuse and exploitation. A vegan diet could initially appear difficult or excessively constricting. Finding adequate going vegan. Yet, most find that once they get a few basics down, the transition is less difficult. Substitutes for their favorite foods initially worries a lot of my clients who are thinking about than they initially expected. As someone enjoying a plant-based diet myself, I've noticed more and more vegan options appearing on supermarket shelves and restaurant menus in the past couple of years. I've even recently come across a vegan version of pastel de nata, one of my all-time favorite desserts. In this article, I'll outline what veganism is and share a few basics about foods to eat and avoid on a vegan diet. However, most people discover that the adjustment is easier than they previously thought once they master a few fundamentals. Since adopting a plant-based diet myself, I've seen an increase in vegan alternatives on grocery store shelves and restaurant menus in recent years. Even pastel de nata, one of my all-time favorite pastries, is now available in vegan form. I'll define veganism in this article and go over some fundamentals of what to eat and what to stay away from when following a vegan diet. Veganism, what is it? The Vegan Society claims that a small group of vegetarians who split off from the Leicester Vegetarian Society in England to found the Vegan Society created the term vegan back in 1944. They decided not to eat any animal products, including dairy, eggs, or meat, in addition to not eating any meat. The first and last letters of vegetarian were combined to create the phrase vegan. The first, vegan definition was created in 1949. Over time, it underwent a small shift to become what it is today. Veganism is a philosophy and way of life which tries to prohibit, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of, and cruelty to, animals for food, clothing, or any other purposes. According to the Vegan Society's most recent definition, the word vegan is frequently used to describe only a particular diet. But according to this most recent definition, being a vegan goes beyond simply eating a plant-based diet. Vegans often strive to avoid any form of animal exploitation or cruelty in all facets of their lives, including the items of clothing they wear, the cosmetics they use, and the pastimes they engage in. Because of this, a lot of vegans refrain from buying wool clothing, leather furniture, or down pillows and comforters. In addition, they can choose to go to animal sanctuaries rather than zoos, circuses, or petting zoos. Summary: veganism is a way of life that abstains from all animal products and makes every effort to minimize animal suffering and exploitation. Why did someone become vegan? Animal products are typically avoided by people for one or more of the following reasons. Ethics. All species have a right to life and freedom, according to ethical vegans. They see all animals as aware creatures who, like people, want to live pain and suffering-free lives. Because of this, ethical vegans are against murdering an animal so that it can be eaten or used for clothing. Vegans are also opposed to the mental and physical stress that current agricultural practices may subject animals to, such as the small pens or cages that they frequently remain in between birth and killing. However, this sentiment goes beyond the brutality of contemporary farming methods for ethical vegans. This is so that those who identify as vegans can avoid eating goods that heavily depend on the death of other animals, especially since there are alternatives. This includes the culling of male chicks that are 1 day old in the egg industry or the killing of calves that are considered surplus in the dairy sector. In addition, ethical vegans often hold that regardless of the living circumstances provided to the exploited animals, humans should not use their milk, eggs, honey, silk, or wool. Because of this, ethical vegans continue to oppose consuming an animal's milk, eggs, or wool, even when the animals are pasture-raised or given free range. Health. Some people opt for a vegan diet because of its possible health advantages. Red meat consumption in particular has been linked to type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. On the other hand, plant-based diets have been associated with a lower risk of certain diseases developing or leading to an early death. Altering your diet to consume less animal products and more plant-based foods may also help with digestion and lower your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. A vegan diet can also lessen the negative effects of the hormones and antibiotics used in contemporary animal agriculture. Last but not least, vegan diets seem to be particularly successful at assisting people in losing extra weight. Numerous studies show a correlation between a vegan diet and a lower risk of obesity. On the other hand, if you follow a vegan diet, you can get fewer of several nutrients. Planning is crucial because of this. To create a vegan diet that will help you obtain the nutrients you need, think about meeting with a healthcare professional like a doctor or certified dietitian. These minerals are typically lacking in vegan diets: vitamin B12, vitamin D, calcium, zinc, iodine, and selenium. Vegans may take supplements to make up for nutrients they might not get enough of from their diet. Environment. In an effort to lessen their negative effects on the environment, people may also decide to forego animal products. Recent data show that animal husbandry makes a significant contribution to the greenhouse gas emissions, GHGs, that drive climate change. The number of GHGs caused by meat eaters is considered to be 2 to 2.5 times higher than that of vegans. Based on self-reported food habits in the UK, it appears that ruminant animals, including cattle, sheep, and goats, generate the most greenhouse emissions per gram of protein they produce. As a result, diets that drastically cut out dairy likewise result in much lower levels of GHGs. According to one study, a vegetarian diet results in 33% fewer GHGs than compared to a calorie-equivalent diet containing meat. A vegan diet generates roughly 53% fewer. A conventional American diet high in meat but low in calorie GHGs, making it even less harmful to the environment. Currently, a major amount of the plant protein generated is fed to animals rather than people. As a result, producing an animal-heavy diet uses more of the planet's resources than producing a food that is primarily composed of plants. Animal protein also requires, on average, 2 to 3 times more water than plant protein, depending on the season and variations in yearly rainfall, among other things. Experts predict that by the year 2050, if nothing changes, our food system would probably consume more resources than the Earth does. Changing to a vegan diet can help you postpone this result. For instance, generating the same quantity of animal protein on the same amount of land requires 6 to 17 times as much land. Synopsis: a person may decide to become a vegan for a number of reasons, such as moral, medical, or environmental considerations. Various veganisms. It's crucial to remember that being vegan doesn't always equate to being healthy. The items that make up a vegan diet determine its quality. As a result, some vegan diets may have numerous health advantages, while others may not. I've encountered the following vegan diet subcategories over the past 2 years in my clinical practice: vegans on a diet. This term, which is frequently used interchangeably with plant-based, use them in other things like clothing and cosmetics. Whole food vegans. These people like a diet full of entire foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. Vegans who eat junk food. Some people rely primarily on manufactured vegan foods like Oreo cookies and non-dairy ice cream, vegan meats, fries, frozen dinners, and desserts. Vegans who consume only raw foods. Only foods that are uncooked or cooked at temperatures lower than 118 degrees Fahrenheit, 48 degrees Celsius, are consumed by this group. Low-fat raw food vegans. This group, also referred to as fruitarians, restricts high-fat foods like almonds, avocados, and coconuts and instead focuses mostly on fruit. They might sporadically consume minuscule amounts of other plants. You're interested in adopting a vegan diet to determine which diet is best for you. Summary: whole food vegan diets tend to offer excellent health benefits. Consider with a healthcare expert if dietary, whole food, junk food, raw food, and low-fat raw food veganism are some variations of this eating style. The foods that make up a vegan diet determine whether or not it has any positive effects on health. What foods eat vegans? Here are some staple foods that vegans typically consume and stay away from. Foods consumed by vegans. If you don't eat animal products, you don't have to stick to tofu and salads. You can eat a wide range of delectable dishes while following a vegan diet. Here are some suggestions. Beans, peas, and lentils, such as black-eyed peas, white beans, red, brown, or green lentils, chickpeas, split peas, and kidney beans. Nuts, such as peanuts, almonds, cashews, and their butters. Soy products, such as fortified soy, flaxseed, hemp, chia, and sesame seeds, as well as sunflower, sesame, and their butters. Whole milk, soybeans, and items produced from them, such as tofu, tempeh, and natto, seeds, such as wild rice, as well as dishes prepared from them like whole grain pasta, bread, and crackers. Starchy vegetables, turnips, beets, squash, sweet potatoes, and potatoes. Leafy greens, broccoli, cabbage, asparagus, radishes, and other non-starchy vegetables, which can be consumed raw, frozen, canned, dried, or pureed. Fruit, you can buy apples, pears, bananas, berries, mangoes, pineapples, oranges, and tangerines fresh, frozen, canned, dried, or pureed. Additional plant-based foods, including maple syrup, nutritional yeast, fortified plant milks and yogurts, algae, and nutritional yeast. There's a strong probability that many of the foods you already like are either vegan already. For instance, you can substitute meals with beans, peas, lentils, tofu, tempeh, almonds, or seeds for those with main dishes that are based on meat. You may also swap out dairy products for plant milks, scrambled eggs for tofu, honey for plant-based sweeteners like molasses or maple syrup, and raw eggs for flaxseed or chia seeds. Additionally, a wide variety of prepared vegan foods, such as vegan cheeses, meats, and sweets, are available. Just be aware that they can be heavily processed. As a result, while they are okay in moderation, they shouldn't constitute the majority of a nutritious vegan diet. Foods vegans should avoid. Vegans abstain from any animal-derived foods. These consist of beef, chicken, duck, fish, and shellfish are examples of meat and seafood. Eggs, entire eggs and anything containing them, including baked goods, milk, cheese, butter, and cream, as well as meals made with these ingredients, are examples of dairy products. Additional components originated from animals include whey, honey, albumin, casein, carmine, gelatin, pepsin, shellac, and pepsin. Generally speaking, the best way to tell if a food contains ingredients produced from animals is to read the label. Nowadays, a lot of foods are marked as being vegan, making it simpler to identify them in the grocery store. Synopsis: vegans consume a range of foods. They often substitute a range of plant-based substitutes for meat, eggs, and dairy, giving a vegan diet diversity. The conclusion: animal products are typically avoided by vegans for moral, health, or environmental reasons, or for any combination of the three. An abundance of plant foods, such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, and fortified goods manufactured from these foods, will likely be substituted for meat, eggs, and dairy products if you follow a vegan diet. It's simpler than most people believe to make the switch to a vegan diet. However, it does necessitate some extra dietary expertise. So, if you're thinking about switching, think about seeing a registered dietitian who specializes in plant-based diets to be sure you understand the fundamentals. To make sure you're giving your body what it needs in terms of nutrients, you might also want to think about taking certain supplements, depending on your knowledge, finances, and culinary abilities. Merely one thing. Try it now. Designate one day per week to consume entirely vegan meals. I think that participating in Meatless Mondays is a wonderful approach to acclimate yourself to a plant-based diet. If you like, they can assist you in gradually developing a repertoire of delicious plant-based meals, making it simpler to gradually reduce the intake of animal products. Subscribe.